listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
Barbershop, Fly Guys now over there on Fifth Ave.
With the hair, he grew some hair.
Yeah, he's that little like.
I ain't seen him in the shop in a minute.
He owned him and his wife opened that Fly Guys right there.
Right on Fifth.
Yes, right by my house.
Yeah.
And he's at a barbershop inside. And he owns that streetwear brand for kids.
He got a barbershop in the
back of the streetwear store.
Oh, that's crazy.
He good people, man.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 16 of the Midnight Oil. I'm your host, Mighty Jai. We got AD sick. What TJ call you?
Wizard Kelly.
Wizard Kelly showing his face tonight.
I made an appearance, man.
Yeah, man. We got AD sitting with us tonight. Our sister, the Don. Even though she ain't here, I gotta say it. The Don all the time with all the shine. Don Rock.
I told her she need to make that. She need to take that acapella and make it a drop.
I'm telling you, man. Don ain't gonna be in here with us tonight, but she did leave us with some mixes that we gonna get into a little later. You know, we're not gonna waste much time. Matter of fact, I'm interested. I'm very eager to hear what it is that she left us with tonight. So she will be here with us in vibe and in sound. So let's just go ahead. Hold up, before we do any announcements, Art and Soul this Friday. Yeah. Art and Soul this Friday night. It's gonna be at 22 South. Tickets on Eventbrite right now. The link is on the overlay page. You know, if you viewing it on YouTube, so make sure you go to Art and Soul Eventbrite and get your tickets. Reserve your tables. It's gonna be a pretty dope show. We got a lot of good talent. As a matter of fact, one of the performers that we're gonna have Friday night is gonna be our special guest tonight. My brother Sam E. Hughes from across the bridge. So we're going to get into a few things. But before that, also too, because I'm trying to get with the interview. This Saturday, it's going to be a big music festival. Lost in St. Pete. It's going to be going on for like 2 or 3 days. So I know I will be hosting the stage right over here on the Deuces. It's going to be some things going on over here as well. Over here at Urban Drinkery, 2184 9th Avenue South. Once again, Lost in St. Pete. One of the stages is going to be right over here across the street in this big field. Once again, I'm going to be hosting. It's a lot of dope talent going to be around here for 2 or 3 days, like the whole weekend. So make sure you keep an eye out for that.
Don will be here DJing.
Don gonna be here too. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a lot of talent. I can't even remember all of the names that's
like
gonna be
100 bands.
Yeah, man. So be on the lookout for that if you went to the local rap, entertainment, hip hop music scene. All right. So let's get into one of these mixes by the Don. You know, they last about a good 11 or 12 minutes. You know, she always gonna lace us with something real buttery, something real smooth. So shout out to my sister,
Donnie Love, DJ Donnie Love.
Yeah, man. So when we come back, we're gonna get into some of our special guest business. You know what I mean? We got a lot to talk about, so keep it locked right here. Episode 16 of the Midnight Oil. Greatly appreciate y'all tuning in.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
DJ Donnie Love, baby. Yo, what's the word? It's your boy Scott A. And right now, y'all are rocking with the big homie, DJ Donnie Love. Drop that shit.
Chuck Taylors ain't no why you better. Some vintage tweed and Italian leather. My shorty riding shoddy looking like a pinup. I bet my neck could go, she couldn't look much better. Had perfect weather, perfect smile, what a pleasure. No more lonely hearts, Mr. Sergeant Pepper. Not everything black and white, Miss Corella. Put the 50 shades in your Polaroid, will last forever. Frozen in time, but we'll be thought by the night. You a dime, but you smell like Chanel number 9. Feel the vibe, Bonnie Clyde, are you down for the ride? I wonder if love's got you blind, sunshine in my life. Don't throw no shade, shawty. Foxy brand, don't behave, shawty. Still not a player, call me Big Poppy. You a stone cold fox when them hips rocky. This one for my day one. Knew I had the sauce, that's my A1. You held me down, straight up. So you the first of all when that day come. This one for my day one. Knew I had the sauce, that's my A1. You held me down, straight up. So you the first of all when that day come. Bust up past that Kavasa.
3, 2, 3, let me holler at you. I've been going crazy. 3, 2, 3, let me holler at you. I've been going.
You got the right to do what you want to. I hope you understand that.
DJ Donnie Love, baby.
Oh no, not another player track. She ain't never gave me trouble. I imagine I broke her heart for real. I ain't studied. Trying to be a high boy like Lil Wayne brothers. I'm my large white tee, huh? I just wanna work, get my overtime up. Every time you over, gotta shut the blinds up. If I use my imagination, I know she has to hate me, but I like doing crowds, kissing clouds, mixing loud. I wish you nothing but the best, lady.
3, 2, 3, let me holler at you. I've been going crazy. 3, 2, 3, let me holler at you. I've been going crazy.
This might be the smoothest shit you heard from me, baby. Yeah.
DJ Donnie Love,
Shit be
baby.
moving fast, gotta make the right decision. Tryna shake that fast money, man, we really need some millions. Gotta watch the ones you hang around with, it can get serious. Everybody don't love you, my nigga, just get richer. Thought maybe I can sell some weed, I bought some peas. Sold those, thought I won, then took a LOT. When I knocked my first game, and it felt like a dream. It's like the world in our hands, non-stop we gotta eat. And that rental almost overheated, on the way to Phoenix. I've been tripping, got a son at home, he really need me. I ain't playing with this shit, I gotta win. And if I fall off, I'ma bounce back again. Look me in my eyes and tell me that you really love me. It's lonely at the top, at least my pinky ring bustin'. I'd be lying to you, baby, if I told you I'm a husband. But I love you cause you stuck around when times got rougher, you know what I'm saying? Like, knocked my first game and it felt like a dream. Sold my first zip and it felt like a dream. Bought my first whip and it felt like a dream. Touched my first 100 and I turned that to 3.
Making Polaroid memories with the runaway soul. The silver lining ain't good enough, we need some gold. Dancing with the devil, she got God on the phone. Confessing all her sins and her church built her bones. I feel alive, she killed a drink and pulled me close. I grabbed her hips, kissed her neck to check her pulse. Hunted by the bass lines, tonight we are gold. Saying Hail Marys while we blow the holy smoke. I met the devil on the dance floor. She looked damn good. I met the devil on the dance floor. I met the devil on the dance floor. She looked damn good. I met the devil on the dance floor. On this eve, your apple bottom is the apple of my eye. Full bed and full, shaking loose, looking right. Your hips on my shepherd while they move left to right. Finding salvation, getting lost in the night. My head in the clouds with a cup full of sky. She's death in the gown, breathing chills down my spine. She grabbed me by the soul, said I'm yours for the night. I know you were born, sinner ready to die. I met the devil on the dance floor. She looked damn good. I met the devil on the dance floor.
Fuck, period on my chain and my neck look like yuck. P-Roll with a plane, I'm out of here, homes fuck. Period on my chain and my neck look like yuck. P-Roll with a plane, I'm out of here, fuck.
What part of the
Yo, what's the word? It's your boy Scott A. And right now, y'all are rocking with the big homie, DJ Donnie Love. Drop that shit.
The other side, exactly what do you mean?
Fuck, period on my chain and my neck look like yuck. P-Roll with a plane, I'm out of here, home stuck. Niggas said I changed, nah man, that's just your luck. I got it in the tub, man, I could give a fuck about how hard you and your mans tried. You got it out the mud, we kill y'all niggas by a landslide. Tiptoe in the field, I feel like a landmine. Press me, it's your Pesci, I'm on that time. Niggas getting they feels, but I'm a lifeline. Ain't another nigga that can mind what I done mind up in this lifetime. Get left for shit you said when you wasn't in your right mind. Give thanks to the Most High. Arm, leg, arm, head, body, God body. All praises can't stop me. Black faces, Jesus peace. Don't cross me. From pages, chase paper. Can't copy. I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I look around, I'm the last real nigga left. Niggas won't be up till they run out of breath. Niggas won't be Christ till they run out of breath.
I'm living in the moment, I feel as if I'm insane. A co-creator who basically don't exist on this plane. Living in the moment, I feel as if I'm insane. Living in the moment, I feel as if I'm insane. A co-creator who basically don't exist on this plane. It's all a part of the game. They fabricating your mind. Watching how we behave to realign with the vines. They blaming us for the weak. Talking is only cheap if it ain't followed up with action the way you supposed to be. I put that on my belief. Spread love or hold your peace. Soul of a king. Found power in melodies. It's that solar potency. The shit they should've quarantined. Isolating the wave. Now I got flow to see. On assignment till our time is up a diamond. My whole life is rough. Everybody sleep, I swear they woke. That's when my eyes are just minds above confusion. I used to be fooled by the word of liars, but the truth is they was caught in illusion. Keep my frequency high enough to kill off that influence. Love is spewing from my vibe, whether you be for the revolution. So living in the moment, I feel as if I'm insane. A co-creator who basically don't exist on this plane. It's all a part of the game. They fabricating your mind. Watching how we behave. Realign with the vine. It's like I'm squaring up with demons. If you see me in the sky, that means I'm probably smoking reefer. I could function from the high, cause I've been blunted since a fetus. Yes, have-nots. Freedom had us dying just to breathe. Jab, wait a lot. Mama always try the best to treat us if she wait or not. Humbled by the struggle, that was me, my sisters were about. Real shit, the only shit we talking about. My word of mouth so versatile that I don't think I'm running out of verses. Bring the hearse around it. Time to close the curtains down. They don't see my worth at all. Barely know the half of me. Clones wanna wave, gon' make them fall back. Tragedy for some, there's no change. I just been embracing the scars to replenish my thoughts. Don't give a damn about what you claim, but what was in your heart. Cause that's the true measure of man trying to even the odds. This ain't wizard of God, still I'm a wizard in your
You're listening to Power Plug Radio. Home of your throwback jams.
Talk about love. Talk about love.
I'm a lover boy. Man.
Hey, and we back. Episode 16 of the Midnight Oil. Hope y'all still tuned in. I'm your host, Mighty Jai. We got 80 sitting with us.
Wizard Kelly.
Wizard Kelly. You know what I'm saying? We just got through with a mix by our sister, the Dawn. Here with us in spirit and in vibe, Dawn Rock. So we just, coming back from that. And we got our guest, hip-hop artist, Tampa Bay vet, on the mic, Sam E. Hughes. What's going on, my man?
Chilling, man. Happy to be here, bro. It's been a minute.
It's good to have you here, man. So something that some people might not know, man, you been living in here in the Berg for a little minute. How you like it?
I love it, bro. 7 years.
7 years?
7 years
I didn't think it was that long. Now, you originally from Tampa, born and raised?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you think is the difference, from living in Tampa and living in St. Pete? What's the difference?
Honestly, I think people are generally a little nicer on this side.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
That's what's up.
By a long shot, bro. At least in my world, right?
Yeah. Kenwood is a nice area.
And like living where I live when I moved here, to have the lifestyle I had, I couldn't live there in Tampa, right? Like being able to just like live somewhere I wanted to live and be able to walk to everywhere.
Yeah.
I get the kind of like this half of southern living, but also I get kind of city living at the same time, right?
Right.
I love that. I don't know, man. It appears more artsy, and the arts are a little more easy digestible on this side.
Yeah.
I think purely off of numbers, there is more on the other side.
Yeah.
Right. There's substantially more rappers and painters. This city just supports it a little bit differently than the other side does, right? Other than that, man, I mean, we're adjacent. We're very close.
Yeah.
People on this side will cross the bridge. Tampa folk don't really cross the bridge. It takes a lot to get them on this side.
Yeah, whenever I talk to certain people about coming over here, it's like, especially if we talking about the nightlife, they swear they driving to Saudi Arabia or something.
Oh,
that's far.
That's something I don't understand. Maybe because I'm a newcomer.
Yeah.
But I drive the bridge every day.
Dude, I do like 3-4 times.
Yes.
I drove there today and then drove back just for this. Like, I went to go handle business.
It's not that big of a deal to me.
Nothing. I do it every day.
I think when it come to like nightlife stuff, because when you come over here, like we party a little different. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot in Tampa, like you said, especially when it come to nightlife. But if you coming around here, especially we talking like going on Central.
Yeah.
Oh, you finna be here for a while.
Yeah.
I only drink on this side. I don't drink on this side because I get to walk home.
Listen, you finna be here for a while and we finna have some fun. But it's like, to some people, it's like that drive, man. It's something about that drive at night.
I don't know. I'll say this, like, I've done both.
Yeah.
Right? I like water. So you can imagine driving across the bridge for me is therapeutic. It helps with the ADHD things we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So coming over here though, it's more my speed. You know what I mean? Like I'll hang out in Tampa, day party or whatever, but nightlife, they go a little too hard for me at this stage of my life.
E-boy is a different animal.
Yeah.
It's changing though.
And I don't live far from E-boy.
Yeah.
They're getting rid of the clubs.
Yeah.
What you mean?
They're trying to push out the amount of nightclubs that can be in the space and like what businesses can be in Ybor. So they're trying to make it a little more retail friendly.
Tourism and shit, yeah.
Right, that's why they're changing the way the parking is down there. Got my car towed for the first time in my life, like last week. First time ever in Ybor.
Knock on wood, I haven't been told yet.
Yeah,
I've never been told, bro, ever.
They done transition to apps and shit. You don't go up to the meter no more.
There's a spot I parked, I don't know, probably 18, 24 months, every single day. Same exact spot. And then just came out of a session, car was gone.
It was gone. But see, it's easier to, like, that's a prime example. Like, it's easier for us. Like, I came over here with my lady. We went out to eat and, like, check out a nice spot or whatever. It's a big-ass parking spot by the pier. It cost me, like, $5. Easy.
Over there's way more.
Huh?
It's more expensive on the other side.
Yeah, over there it's like 20.
I'm not going to say their name because I'm not trying to piss the family off because I know who owns it, but there is a particular company that monopolizes most of the parking lots throughout Tampa, and they do not play.
That's a big play. Parking lots.
They've been doing it for generations.
Yeah.
It's two brothers that own it, but like they're old Italian family that's been around for a minute.
That's all you had to say.
Fire.
generations.
Italians have been. It runs real deep in Tampa. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Italian and Cuban.
Well, you should know because it's the cigar capital of the.
Most people don't know.
And that's where they did the imports.
Yeah. Right. So what
they
happened
had mobsters down here.
Italians brought a bunch of Cuban people over.
Yeah.
Right, in businesses to start guava farms.
Yep.
That failed, and the first thing they could do from that was take those efforts and put it into cigars, and they partnered together, created the Cuban sandwich anymore. I don't look it. I don't know if we've ever talked this, but I'm Italian. Like my mom's side of the family is Italian as fuck. I spent most weekends of my life in the Italian club in Ybor City.
For real?
As a child, I used to wake up every week and go with my nana. She was the president of the ladies' half for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time down there, and that's what my lineage, just the culture I was raised in, right? I know I look a little different, but that's what I see my mom's, like, that's what
But as a fan of, like, Italian culture, like, I learned that Tampa was supposed to be the bridge between America and Cuba, if I'm not mistaken.
The port.
Yeah.
At one point, yes.
So it would just
makes sense.
A lot of people, they ain't in it. It run deep.
Yeah, like deep.
Very.
Very, very.
It's a movie about that too. I just
look up my great grandpa.
Was Ben Affleck, huh?
Look up my grandpa.
Yeah.
Not Castellano.
Oh yeah. All right.
Castellano.
But Lano's the same, but they all came from the same. But I'm a Lano.
I was gonna say, hey,
what's this movie? It's a movie with Ben Affleck about this very y'all. You know.
That's what's up.
It's when we do our research.
Yeah. All right, man. So, rap music, man. When did you get into rap? When did you like?
I started rapping originally, probably 4th grade. Me and a guy named Chip, our brothers both played ball. I got out of baseball pretty early, and that just became my love. Right. I grew up by like Lato High School, if you know where that is.
Yeah.
Egypt Lake in Tampa. So I grew up in an all Hispanic neighborhood, and all I ever heard was hip hop, Spanish music, and Motown because that's what Mom liked, and I could never figure out how to sing. So rap is what always drove me because like Big Pun was it for me, right? And then someone moved in the neighborhood, showed me Master P, and it was a game changer.
It was a rap,
bro, and I just started rapping. I first time on stage as a rapper was 6th grade, 7th grade. Do you know Outside Kitchen in like Tampa? It's like really popular. It's becoming
I don't know
now.
yet.
It's like a spot over in East Tampa, but the guy who owns it, me and him were in a rap group.
Okay.
In middle school, I just reached out to him because I used to work at the hospital, and this guy sat there every day, and I walk in, and he'd be changing out, and he'd be like, "I know you," and I'm like, "Bro, I don't know you, man." Like, you know, but he's nice as fuck. I was like, "I don't know you," and one day he was just like, he came in, he goes, "I know who you are," and I was like, "What?" He goes, "I just watched a video of you rapping in 6th grade," and I was like, I was like, "What?" And he's like, "This is my son." I was like, "Yo, gotta have the video." So like 2 days ago, I actually reached out to the guy. I was like, "Yo, can I get a copy of the video?"
Yeah,
I can picture it to a T, bro. I had a throwback Hawks jersey on.
How that felt looking at yourself,
I haven't seen it yet. I didn't get back.
Oh, you ain't seen it?
He's got to convert it. It's in tape at the moment.
It's old school.
Yeah,
bro,
6th grade.
6th grade. So this has got to be 02, 01.
Okay.
Right? And so I've been rapping as long as I can remember. Tried a couple other genres along the way, right? When I started getting introduced to different music. But rap is it, man. That's just my soul, bro.
Yeah, man. When I first caught wind of you, I thought it was funny. I want to talk about it a little bit. So when I first caught wind of you, you was in a group with Vinny Virgo.
I was.
It was called The White Kids.
It was. It was. I don't know how that name even worked, bro. I'm the only white one, bro. Big fact.
Hey, so tell me about that, man. How you linked up with Vinny Virgo and y'all came up with that name, man?
You know, back then the culture was like he was raised more around the white community.
Yeah.
I was raised around opposite, and then like we met in high school, kind of. In high school, I used to throw a lot of the parties. Like that was my bag. Me and my friends to get money. We would throw the parties, and as we did it, you know, we would always end up rapping. And one day, he walked up, and his friends used to call him San, and they were like, "Bro, give him one." And he just started rapping. And where the name from to this day, I have no idea how we picked the name. Because in my head, to me, it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
But it worked, right? Like, there were some pretty big offers on the table when we decided to walk away from it. We toured with Currency for one point, right? We had a bunch of stuff with Gym Class, Roscoe Dash. That was like my first wave. And, good times, bro.
I remember the first time I had seen y'all. It was a function So Lace was doing.
Yeah.
It was an outside stage.
In Town and Country.
Yeah, in Town and Country. And I think, I think that's when I had first moved to Tampa. And I was just hearing certain names, and y'all was one of them. And so, like I said, like the white kids.
It worked.
Like,
It worked, bro.
Looking back at
That's
it
good
now,
marketing.
It did. I was young.
That's good marketing.
It did.
I was like 18, 19.
Yeah.
I had already been rapping for years, right? And like Vinny had been recording. I had like a solo thing slightly before Vinny. And then I heard Vinny's verse. It was just very, it just felt original, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like it was very in line to what I did. So I just pulled him over to the crib and.
Shout out to Vinny Virgo,
That's
man.
my
When the
guy,
last
bro.
time you talked to him?
3 days ago.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's what's up.
We got pretty close again recently. You know, he lives in LA.
Yeah.
He came back for his-
Vinny was husky.
Yeah, bro, you just see him. You should have saw him in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I'm so proud of that man. Like who he's
Yeah.
become as a man. Yeah, he's fucking killing it.
That's
You know, he got
what's
Mick Jenkins on the last album. He just dropped
See.
an album and he's got Mick Jenkins on that joint.
Mick Jenkins hard.
Because they used to kind of live around each other in the warehouses in LA, and they were friends early on.
Yeah.
He's still out there in LA. He came here to do his album release, which I did.
I remember.
I rocked with him for that. He nice.
Yeah, man.
That boy can rap.
Yeah. He got his own style. You know it's him when he rap. Real distinctive.
He's got one of those. I'm not sure if you know. He's not.
Yeah.
He's got one of those bassy voices that we were talking about.
Like a baritone.
Yeah.
Like we used to track it. I get so pissed because like it was a solid like Sharpie marker across the waves. I'm like, yo, the mix is so easy on this guy's voice.
Yeah, he one of them cats. You know, if you know it's him.
Yeah.
Like you know it's him if you familiar, man. So once again, man, shout out to Vinny Virgo.
That's my guy, bro.
So man, the Tampa scene, like you done been around, you know, to see some changes, man. And I think from when and I guess I'll say we, you know, because I guess I was a part of it for a
You
little
were for
bit.
a little while, man.
You know, I'll say we. You know, a lot has, you know, it's new faces. It's quite a few new faces.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I'm one of the new faces.
Like this guy, I met him
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
80 cool, man. But it's a lot of new faces.
It rotates. It's kind of the thing, right? Like you create a wave, it doesn't crest over yet, right? It doesn't curl over, and then it circles back up. The next wave comes. Some people stay, some people leave.
Right.
What happened prior gains more attention, so the next wave gets a little bit bigger, and it goes, and then the same thing repeats, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And now I feel like we're at the point where the wave is finally curling over, and everybody trying to surf it, right?
Right.
A lot of talent right now.
It is.
talent.
It's quite a bit, man. It's a lot of different styles. You know what I mean? I always looked at Tampa as like, I'll say one of the creative differences is in Tampa, to me, it seemed like it's a lot more transplants. You know, a lot more transplants in Tampa than it is in St. Pete.
For sure.
So it's like Tampa is more eclectic, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like you got it's a big up north, you know, presence, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
a splitter element to our scene.
Latins, Cubans, or whatever, cats that decide to rap, they come with their thing, and then you know you got the natives, they gonna keep that classic sound, you know what I mean? So it's always gonna be that gumbo, and with all of them styles, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like, and plus the school, I always notice like stuff changed every 4 years.
That's how college, That's how college towns goes,
Exactly.
Yep.
It's like every 4 years, it's always this type of
That's trends in
regeneration.
general, right?
You know
I
what
feel
I'm
like that's
saying?
trends.
So
Yeah.
I guess what I'm asking or what I'm getting at is, you know, with a cat like you who been around, and I want to say, to me, stylistically, aesthetically, because you wasn't always this, you know what I'm
Yeah, for
saying?
sure.
You wasn't always Sam E. Hughes. You was
Sam.
Sammy Moore. You know what I'm saying? Like, how, you know, talk about your growth or your transition, or you just finding a way to recreate yourself? And also too, we're gonna talk about some things as far as like you recreating yourself and getting into other different ventures. So talk about that and your process and how you managed to just like boom, like here I am.
You know, I didn't think I was gonna rap again when I started rapping again, right? It was
Why not?
There was no intention. I decided to get out of it, right? When me and Vinny decided to not take some opportunities, Vinny continued to rap. I owned a company called Dope Rope, which a lot of people didn't know that I actually owned.
Okay.
I patented a company that made joint papers into beads. And I made them into jewelry, and I sold them all over the world. Like I sold about 20,000 bracelets in 2 years. Like I did pretty good with it. And I went down that path and wanted to be more of like a creative.
Right.
When I started painting, I ended up starting a art creation company called Heart, which you did some of the Heart shows. Heart is what led me back to rapping again, right? I feel like what I was doing.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. We outside for real. Go ahead.
When I was younger, I felt like I was trying to follow a trend and create a pocket, right? And that was the era of like the cool kids. Jerk music was
the blog era.
Right.
Yeah.
It was alive and well.
Weird stuff was going on, right? And everyone was just trying to figure out where skinny jeans fit in, and people were wearing like retro loud stuff and stuff, right? So second time around, I said it's got to be real to myself and the culture I grew up in. So it stopped being that, right? Like the suits for me, that aesthetic comes from the gangsters I grew up around, right? Because the gangsters I grew up around wore suits.
You be putting that shit on now when you want to.
And that's my stage thing, right? That's how I dress, right? And so this time around, I had to be true to the music I enjoyed, and it didn't have to be about the brand or necessarily a gimmick or what people wanted. I just need to be true to myself and create as I feel freely, which is why I'm Sammy Hughes, because the Hughes for me is about the art element to the other side of me, right? It's about the murals, it's about the stage design. First show back, I created a 15-foot headless woman, right? With the projection mapping, I designed that, me and Seabass. Second art show I did, I created a tiger's mouth that I walked out on the tongue, right? For me, the music is the driving force that allows the rest of the elements to exist. Growing up, I was allowed to try pretty much any medium I wanted. My mom's, by the time I was 18, I was sewing, knitting, soldering, welding, stained glass, making music, building studios in my crib. So when I came back, if it wasn't all of it, then it was none of it. And I think that's why it works for me now, right? If it didn't, I wouldn't do it.
It sounds like, when you decided to take a little time off from rap and you got hella nice. I don't know if you was nice before then, but you got hella nice at painting. And a lot of, people might not know, it's some murals around here. Like, of course, I mean, if you know and you're in the know, a lot of the murals around here, you see Sebastian. Shout out to Sebastian Coolidge.
My brother there.
But there's some other shit.
I got a 2.5 story building over here on Central and like 25th.
Yeah.
Right next to where Swingers used to be. That's my girlfriend. I painted that. That's, I just do them because I like to. And it's lucrative, right? And I only paint when they allow me to paint something I enjoy, right? To me, it's not about chasing the dollar. I just want to therapy.
How does that feel, man? Because a lot of people, we living in, a lot of mediums and art, especially when it comes to music. Like, let's be for real. There's no money in music.
No.
But it's the art of it. It's, at this point, music is like being a teacher.
Yeah, it's a loss leader.
That's exactly what it is.
It's a loss leader.
That is the exact word, right? It is the cool factor that drives. It's why we were talking about artists I like, right? Like Toby, Tyler the Creator, Kanye, things like that. Because the music is what people relate to first. It's what touches your soul. If you're doing it right, you sell everything adjacent to it, right? So they buy into your world, and you create everything the way you would want it in your world if you're that kind of artist, which is how I see myself. then that's where the money comes, because music is in the ethers, right? Everyone can grab a phone, listen to any song they want, right? You know, there is a new place now where direct consumer is going to be a big part of music, right? That's why you have like Patrons and exclusive content and things like that. That's why you see a lot of the young punk bands and indie bands and rap, alternative rap groups. Like, are you familiar with They Hate Change?
I've been hearing their name so much.
Those my
man.
dogs.
They making making a lot of waves, groups. Man.
They're on the new album actually. Been friends with them for a long time. Right?
Yeah.
We used to put them on the Heart shows and stuff. Saw what was in them young, and they killed it. They signed to Jaguar Records, their first rap group ever, right? Bon Iver is like their big guy on there, which he was on Good Music. He had a lot to do with My Dark Twisted Fantasy and the Sonics on that. But they're on that label, and what these younger people are doing is like they sell cassette tapes, right? Or I think we would do vinyls if most people could afford vinyls, because vinyls are expensive, right?
Yeah.
But it's a takeaway thing to be like, I love this artist, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about the merch, right? Kanye, Dondas are a good example of what music is experience, right? He created an experience, sold you a listening party, and made $8 million before the album dropped out or something
everything
like that?
Kanye is selling, from the clothes to everything, is processed.
Yes.
He's selling you unfinished shoes, unfinished clothes,
stems,
unfinished projects, and but he's created a whole world, so you want to see how he.
Yeah, I mean, I think his aesthetic is taking the rags and selling it to the rich folk, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's his concept. Like, he's making you buy into.
I never heard nobody put it like that.
Right, it's the same concept of like soul food, right? I think that's what modern Kanye is, right? That's why he pissed off the textile world early on when he was getting these cashmeres that are. The textile world is very tight knit, right? Where you can't buy certain things. The first season, he bought these extremely expensive cashmeres and was making these sweaters, and then would throw bleach on them and have them fucked up, right? Because Kanye thinks differently, has a hard time articulating it, but what he really was doing was buying the rags, turning it into rags, and selling it back to rich folk, which you don't want. And I'm a huge Kanye fan, right? He's controversial.
Me too.
But it's brilliance, But what Kanye sells is an experience, right? That's what we are supposed to do as artists. I think that's a big thing that lacks in our live shows. And when I came back, that's what big focus is me, right? Like, I'm better on stage than I am in the studio.
Yeah.
Right. That is my sweet spot. And I know how to create experiences because I come from I used to throw events my whole life, like since I was a kid, and I've been on stage doing all kinds of stuff. B-boying. I don't know, most people know I used to step. Most of my life I stepped. So I started in middle school and like I never stopped, right? That was my shit. If you asked me in middle school, I was going to go to FAMU and I was going to be in a frat.
I can see that.
Like, that was me as a kid, bro. I got to show you me as a kid, bro.
I can see that.
And like, so creating the experience is why I came back, and that's what Sammy Hughes is, right? It's actually Sam E, right? But if you put it together, it's Same Hughes, right? It's all about also, you know what I mean? All being walks of the same hues. And like, I had to give you the artistic experience. An OG once told me it's not what you're selling, it's how you sell it.
Yeah.
Right? And value is in perception.
Packaging.
So if I can just rock a stage, that's one thing. But if you can walk in and I create a monochromatic experience, which I did for the Panto show right before COVID, where I create a monochromatic lighting, a monochromatic stage. I hand dyed sweatsuits for all the MCs. I had a caterer come out, dye all the food blue. That is an experience, right? It's within means at the time, right? But ain't nobody seen it like that, right? And I think that's the next wave.
Yeah, I think that's definitely your niche, and I think, of course, that's how you separate yourself from a lot of people. I can remember, I don't know if you remember, but you actually had me a part of one of them, and I was excited I'm like, damn, already.
Girl, right?
Yeah, with
it was you, Queen, other people, it was lit.
Yeah, that shit was crazy, and I think the girl with the nipples or something.
Yeah, it was so the album was a conceptual piece. We were talking about how I like do things conceptually. The album was called Girl, which is an acronym for Girls I Remember Loving. And what I did was make this shrine to all of them, right? Which was this, her head would go into the ceiling. We projection mapped the body, and me and Sebastian made this 15-foot.
Yeah.
Topless, had this woman with a isolated heart that changed, right? And then everything changed colors for my set because that album was based on color.
You know what? Looking back at it now, it reminded me of some Dolly looking shit. It was real, not as psychedelic, but it was like
yeah. It was something called Liquid Lights.
Yeah,
which I took from. I went and saw a couple random like jam band type bands, and they have this thing they used to do in the '60s, where they create. It looks like tie dye, right?
Yeah.
Out of like bowls of water, oil, and color, right? So I saw that. I started messing around with it. Me and the guy that created the lighting show for it, I made those and recorded them, and then we mapped those to each thing in the monochromatic color, right? And that's what you're talking about, where like you know, all the swirls and all that stuff. Yeah. I'm actually doing that for a live show over here. I think it's going to be at the Garden Shop, Wild Roots, on First Ave South, on like 20th. There's a young artist named Ray Davis, or Just Ray. She has an album coming out called Catharsis. She is, can I curse on here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, she's fucking amazing. Right? Like, she is one of my favorite artists out. She's somewhere between Sade and Seven Shake.
Okay.
Right? Like the Sonics. She's fire.
All right. That's what's up, man. So it sounds like to me, like I said, you know, when you took time out, you know, your first wave or your first go round or your first form of rap artist or whatever, and you went around and, you know, you took some time out with painting, you know what I mean, or did some time to do some painting and still doing the murals, and, you know, I guess it kind of just was the part of the transition, which we named I named the show Transitions.
Okay.
You also took some time to, you know, get into a little bit, and I think it had to start the question, like, how does that feel? How does that feel, being able to make money, whether it be a lot or a little, from your creations?
It feels good, man. I'm the only one in my growing up circle that was creative, right? Like, so everyone around me was a business person. So I always see that side as well, right? I'm a businessman out of necessity.
Yeah.
But artist first, right? So everything I've ever done creatively has always been lucrative. And I don't know if I'm lucky or if it's that I grew up with it, you know? But I've always made money in the space. Just, I don't flaunt it on everybody. It's not my brand. I'm not the kind of stunt on you, right? But it feels good when you pay bills off of what
you love.
I feel like I feel like that's every creative's deep down shit.
It's an easy equation, right? I think most people.
How? Well, hold up, Sam. How is it an easy equation? It's easy for you because I think just, you know, from the little bit that I know about you, certain shit about everybody is just innate. You know what I'm saying? It's in you but you still gotta cultivate it. You still gotta sharpen it. So I think we done talked about this on the show too.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of people that do alphabets and numbers well.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of people that do colors and numbers well.
Right.
The people that do or that have, they're pretty special. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. I don't want to give myself that kind of credit.
No, but I'm saying like they pretty special. So it's okay. So I guess I'll ask you this, man. Like, one, how do you put yourself in these positions to, you do a whole mural? How do you make these connections? You know what I'm saying? Or how do you get into these circles?
Yeah, honestly, man, shaking hands, kissing babies, right? You know, I think a lot of creatives tend to chase the approval of the next creative, right?
Your peers,
right?
Yeah.
Which your peers are only your judgment, right? The average consumer doesn't look at it the same way, and the average person is your consumer. So, I love my community. I do a lot quietly that I will never speak on to help because I want to see people win, right? I will give the shirt off my back to an artist if I think he needs that for that show, right?
Yeah.
Literally. And But what I've always done different is I politic in a space that has nothing to do with our community. Yes. If you can go out there and shake hands with random people, that's where the money comes from. And those consumers are how you make money, because what is success in as a creative, right? Success is just making a living, right? Some people look at it as like, I need 100 million plays and $100 million. Nah, bro, if you can make $100,000, you're doing better. You're doing almost double the. You're actually doing more than double the country's average, right? So how do you get to $100,000? You cultivate a quality fan. What is a quality fan worth? $100 a year. That's less than $10 a month per person. What is $10 a month? I spend $10 at a gas station on beef jerky a couple times a month, right? On some stupid shit, right? So you take your consumer, you have them believe in you and want to see you succeed. If you can super serve your consumer, what is $10 a month, right? That's them coming to a couple shows a year, buying a couple pieces of merch. There's your $100 out of one person a year, right? Now, how do you get to $100,000 after finding $100 a person? Just find 1,000 people. You can't find 1,000 people in the city you live in to make $100,000. That's how you make success in an artist. Have I met the $100,000? No, but I know how to make a living off it already, right? And that alone, as just an artist, not creating businesses adjacent to you, right? Because that's something I've done as well in my life. But just as an artist, that's how you make the money. An artist can't. If you're a visual artist, someone may not be able to buy a $6,000 painting because that's what the painting's worth, and that's what it should be sold for, right? Because it took fucking time and it took your whole life to get that good. Yeah. But 1,000 people can buy a print for $10.
Yeah.
Right.
See, what happens is to answer your question about people who can do numbers and letters, they are pretty special. But what keeps it going is simplicity in one facet. See, like, so what he just did is he broke down, okay, it takes $100,000 to, you're doing better than more than half of the world annually. But what does it take to get to that? You know what I mean? Then he broke it down to simple numbers.
Affecting the bottom line.
Exactly.
It's not just about the bottom line, it's the behavior.
Exactly.
To get to the bottom.
So you see how when you break that down to be very simple, just a quality fan is $10 a month type of thing, right? Versus you ask somebody your process of creating your art. The answer is going to be, they might not be able to answer it because it may be a little bit too complicated for comprehension, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So one, whether it be the numbers or the letters, is simple because the other one is so fucking complex to do, right? So like I can't paint and draw worth of shit. Yeah. But I've seen like murals be like, I've helped make murals, and the process of that shit is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. It's a labor, right?
Yeah.
And be honest with you, painting a mural is digging a ditch, right? It's the same concept. You're out there doing a manual labor in the hot sun, right? We glorify it because it's beautiful.
Yeah,
right? That's the only reason I do it, because I hate actually painting. That's why I've done it longer than I've made music, but I like seeing the end goal, right? Like, to me, finishing up, sitting back, staring at it, there's about a 2-hour window where it's euphoric and I'm just like, this is awesome that I did that. And then it's out of sight, out of mind for me. And it's weird, right? But I left something that people are going to walk up and appreciate. We as creatives tend to think that everyone consumes our art in the complexity that we treat it, right? Like, as a lyricist, nobody catches the bars, right? And I am so anally obsessive over those punchlines that I weave on the second layer down in the lyrics that 90% of the consumers will never get. But there's that one guy in the crowd who gets it, and that makes me feel amazing, right? Yeah. But we don't have to explain them what's complex. They just have to enjoy it. Yeah. And that's anything art, right?
Yeah, that's like the thing with DJing is kind of the same, right? So like when you do a set and you make this amazing blend or this amazing transition that you practice for like a month straight to get the technique down, and you did it right, and it's bam, right in that moment. Prime example, I blended Superstar by Luther Vandross with Slow Jams by Kanye West.
Money.
And I did it so fucking masterfully, bro. When I say like, I almost made myself cry. Nobody in the crowd saw that shit. Nobody. at all. But
they enjoyed it.
They had a good ass time.
Yep.
They liked the switch, but they didn't see the technicality. And what I did.
We're in the vibe. We're in the vibe era.
Yes.
We're in the vibe.
It was vibey as fuck.
We're in the vibe era. And I think a lot of times it's just like, it's like cooking. It's like not just, you smell the food. No, just tell me when the food done.
Yeah.
I'll tell you whether it's good or not.
Come taste this.
Yeah.
I get this reduction.
You know what I'm saying?
Some people appreciate the method, right? Like there are creatives that their art is not necessarily the art, but the method, right? There's an artist locally, her name's Emily Tan. She's a drip painter.
Okay.
Right? I don't know if you remember at my house, but I have this like, I know it's like 10 feet by like 6 feet in the hallway. It's like this big long drip thing, right? It's beautiful. I love it. But people come and want to see her.
Yeah, I was about to say that's a process.
Right?
That's a process you might want to watch.
Right. Like Pollock. Do you know who that is? The famous painter who used to get on the ladder and need to drop paint.
But somebody just told me about Pollock.
We like what it looks, but really people love that it's a method that he created, right?
Yeah.
His ash would fall into the painting and he would leave it, and he was on scaffolding just dropping paint all over.
Kanye West.
It's like the second time in like 5 days I done heard about Pollock, and he told me briefly about the story behind him.
Right, and like it's the method, right?
Yeah.
So people also buy into the method, but not everyone buys into the method. That's a niche market.
Right.
Depends on the vibe.
Right, but you don't need every consumer. You just have to find your 1,000 people, right?
Yeah.
That's any business, right?
Yeah.
I just break it down into that sense in music and art, because that's the ball game, right? You take 1,000, right? That's $100,000. Then you get 5,000.
Yeah.
And you're right.
But you know what's so funny? You said 1,000. You said 1,000, and I always, for so long I've heard about the law of 100. The law of 100.
I was just about to say,
and he just stressed it out and took it to 1,000.
I was just about to say, because even if you have only 1,000 followers, right, on Instagram or whatever,
if you can, fans.
Yeah, if you can get 100 to buy into that, they'll take you to 1,000.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if you break that down, if you can get 10, if you start with 10 fans, they'll take you to 100.
Correct.
So, and that's the law of numbers, but artists don't understand the numbers.
No, they don't. But I think also a lot of people don't learn outside of their comfort zone, right? Because we create naturally. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But greatness happens on the other side of your comfort space, right? So you have to somehow understand. And unless you have the ability to create a team, which I recently was able to do, right? I took a couple time off to shuffle the cards and figure out what it was to take me to where I want to be. And I wasn't going to create until I could find the resources. But if you can't, you have to be a businessman out of necessity, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Until you can go elsewhere. We all have it in us.
Right.
I know people who are dumb as a box of rocks, aren't very good creatives, but make a killing in that space, right? There's a reason why the young kids now understand that if you go bidding at Goodwill, right?
Yeah.
And you get to there first, take those clothes. If you put them online, someone online who doesn't want to go dig will pay 6 times the amount that you pay
Convenience.
for that shirt.
Yeah.
So that's why they bitch about no one wants jobs now, right? But what COVID did was shuffle the cards, and all the young people who would have worked these service jobs and these restaurant jobs are
going
like,
out and
I'm not fucking
figure it
working
out
for you. I'm not going to go scrub the back of a Wendy's.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go to Goodwill. I do this shit anyways. Take this shit, put online, and I'll make 60 bands, right? Like my girl's got a friend who's making hundreds of thousands of dollars from her bedroom selling shit that she finds and resells it online, right? And I've known people my whole life who've done that, right? There's a guy that I met through my uncle, multi-millionaire, from just going to flea markets and houses, buying random shit and selling it online.
Yeah. Shout out to Prop. Shout out to
Fuck
Prop.
yeah, fucking love property.
Shout out to Prop, man.
And it's been a model though. It's been a model that has worked for the duration, like since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
It's just that COVID, I think the pandemic put a microscope on it, because there was literally, like, you had no other choice. You know what I mean? Like,
how to eat.
Yeah. So it was like back then did the same thing. You would hunt. You keep something to eat.
Yeah.
You split it half. You sell it.
Barter the rest out. Yep.
And then you buy more stuff to hunt more things, and then you get a gang, and we're talking about the westerns. You get a posse, and then you rob more trains, and then you take more gold, and it's no different. It's just that innovation comes out of disparity, and we got desperate.
Yes, we did.
And people got innovative as fuck.
Dude, it's a random thing. I think a lot of people got into it, but like houseplants. Right?
Yep.
A lot of people really got into them. my girl had been into them for years, right?
Yeah.
She worked at a garden shop when I met her. Like, that was her bag. So my house was already filled up with plants. I lucked out a little bit because we were permitted and access to places that a couple people can get, right, in the plant world. But when I shut my studio down and I had to do certain things, what I learned to do was take plants, propagate them, sell them, and flip them.
Yeah.
If there's a will, there's a way, and there's a market for fucking everything.
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 There's a consumer for everything.
This is OG, bro. It was some of the smartest shit I've ever heard from this guy that worked behind me at a call center, right? I wish I could remember his name. I can picture his face to a T. This old dude, right? But he peeped game on me on everything, bro. He said, it's not what you sell, it's how you sell it. The pet rock grossed $2 million. He put a rock in a box and sold you as a novelty as a pet and made $2 million and walked away. Right?
Yeah.
Sell anything.
It's all about the packaging.
Yeah.
How you package it up.
I made a killing off of rolling up joint papers and turning them into beads and selling them. Yes, it was in a certain era, right? And I had some resources from coming off of the rap group that allowed me to get to where I got.
Yeah.
But the way I packaged it and perceived it, right? I took something that took me $4 to make and sold it to you for $35.
Yeah.
It's a margin, right?
That's why I appreciate independent artists, right? And we were talking about this earlier, like the independent artists I follow. For instance, take a Larry June.
Yeah.
Right? His whole lifestyle that he raps about, one, I can relate because I'm very health conscious. But two, like if he's selling you a t-shirt, it'll come in like a orange netted bag that oranges will come in. Because that's like his thing. You know what I mean? I have a homeboy who's big into cars, right? He's big into restoration and car meets and things like that. His merch idea for, I think, last summer was air fresheners. I thought it was the most brilliant idea ever. The markup is, first of all, the markup is ridiculous on that shit.
Yeah, huge.
But do you know how many people use air fresheners?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to like rap, but you like your car smelling good.
I have custom black ice air fresheners that were supposed to come out when Cruise Control came out as my merch.
Yeah.
Right? Never did it. We were all stuck in the house for COVID, so it never came out.
Yeah.
I'm actually about to give away a fuck ton of lighters here shortly for my new album, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff that's coming with the rollout for the new project because that album's called When Tigers Used to Smoke, right? So giving a lighter goes with the idea of the concept. But how often does a lighter change hands?
A lot.
Right? In a smoking community,
hell yeah,
you still a lighter on accident.
Somebody's always patting
twice
for
a week,
something.
right?
Yeah.
So you just put the marketing tools on that,
Yeah.
QR code it, right? It's guerrilla style marketing,
Yep.
which we used to do when we started rap.
Yeah.
But it still places in digital space,
Yeah.
right? So it's the correlation of your branding and marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's creating your world, right? Like Toby, I think Toby does it better than anybody in the new generation.
See, something also too that's pretty dope is artists who know how to throw an event. I had a buddy of mine down in Gainesville. His name is Blazel, right? And we're big on like when we would go out of town or people would come out of town, we'd all meet at the hotel to eat breakfast, continental breakfast, right? So he makes an album and calls it Continental Breakfast, and I'm like, yo, you need to do some merch. And he's just like, yeah, we're gonna do some teas, and I'm like, no, like we need to do some accessories, some rolling trays, some lighters, but make clothes. And then he was like, oh shit, we could actually have a continental breakfast.
So money.
And we couldn't find a hotel that would like take it.
Love that.
So we found a spot, and I had an event space. So we did it in our event space, and he made it into like a hotel restaurant. He had catered food, had a live band. So it was the experience. And then he got people to sell out the merch. Like, and I was explaining to him, like, listen, you can't rap about this stuff and then just perform it. You gotta like let people live it. And so he was like, well, so how do you think I want to do t-shirts? I was like, all right, cool. If you gotta do t-shirts, then don't just do black and white. You know what I'm saying? Take the album cover, pick colors, pastels. It came out in the spring. So we're in the spring. So pick some light blues, some light yellows, you know what I mean? Get women to wear it. You know what I mean? Get people to want to wear it when they eat. Because everybody got to eat. And the shit sold out. Bro, they sold out. We did it on a Sunday. He was sold out in like 3 hours.
That's a great idea, though.
And it was like great. And now it's like a thing. Like now he don't have to do the album to have a continental breakfast. You know the experience. So,
yeah,
you know, it's one of them, you know.
I'm doing Max Foreman, my partner at the studio. We're creating this like art house collective within our studio, right? It's called Kin. I've had the license for years. I've been sitting on the idea for a long time. It's all about timing, right? But it's KIIN. It stands for Keep It in the Neighborhood, right? And it's like art house, whatever taste that we have, right? And that's because that's how I see this wave of my life. It's not the blockbuster film. It's the art house. It's the better, in my opinion, the better taste, right? That's the music I like. That's how I like it. Right. So we're rolling out an NFT project with it. That is a neighborhood of houses. You buy a house, you join our HOA.
Okay.
Right? That allows you to get access to different events that we're doing. We're starting a monthly event where I'm painting these houses that fills this courtyard in a particular venue that we're doing to make it look like you're sitting in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to throw a block party once a month within a venue, right? It's a correlation. It's just the packaging, right?
Yeah.
It's bringing someone to your world, bringing yourself into this. You got to paint the picture for people, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, Kanye wearing the boots, right?
Yeah.
Everyone talks about the boots forever, right? But I'm explaining to you that something that most people overlooked in his process. He wore the boots, had everybody hyped up about these boots, talking so much about these boots, made Balenciaga make their version of the boots, right? Like, took it to a different space.
Yeah.
All to lead up to his stage design for Donda 2 when he flooded the floor and you had to wear waterproof boots and he made everybody wear waterproof clothes.
Yeah.
That's creating an experience.
So, like, but the thing with Kanye, too, is before all of that, with his, like we were talking about it before, his first 3 projects created the world itself.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously you do a tour after the first one, but the concept of the college dropout and the story that he told during the album puts you in that world. So when we're talking about music being a loss leader, I look at music as like a store, right? If you're a retail store, right, it's gonna cost you to run the store, just like it costs you to make music. It's gonna cost you a lot more than it's gonna make. It's not it's not the brick and mortar that makes it. It's the location and then what's inside the store that helps pay for the store. So when you have a store and you walk in, like Amazon have their stores or whatever, it's all the products
around it
in the store that help you pay for that store.
Correct.
Right? And if you mark up everything around it, that's how you make money.
The music's a driving force.
Exactly.
And then everything else is.
And if your store looks good on the outside, people are going to come in.
Yeah. Right.
And if it feels good on the inside, they're going to stay and come back.
One thing I noticed is we do everything with our eyes. Everything with our eyes. We eat with our eyes.
Yeah.
We smell with our eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We do everything.
Listen.
If it doesn't, we listen.
Yeah.
With our eyes. Why? If it doesn't look good.
Yeah. Perception's value.
It's what Dion said. You know, you look good, you feel good.
You feel good.
You feel good, you play good.
That's why you spend like money on clothes, right? You just want to feel right.
So it's like, you know, sitting here with somebody, like, I didn't even notice that about the whole Kanye rain boots. I ain't pay attention to that. But somebody who pay attention to aesthetics, and then also too, which is gonna lead into my next question. One thing that I've noticed is like coming into, you know, into the rap game and the hip hop, the rollout is starting to become, I'm not gonna say starting to become, once upon a time it was important.
Yes.
And then it wasn't important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think it wasn't important to a lot of people when you can only do it if you're Beyonce.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
I'm about to say you have to be that.
You have to be somebody. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta be out of this world.
It takes money, right, to create scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a while, the cards were shuffled and the means to how you rolled out were a different concept, right? Like we didn't get the big rollouts, but to me, I think a rollout is very important.
Very important.
I've been quiet for some time because I'm preparing for what I think is my life's work.
Yeah.
And after this one, you can shoot me, I'll be good. Right? That's how I feel about this next journey in my life, right? That to me as a consumer is one of the most important things.
Marketing.
Yeah.
It is marketing.
It's
right?
marketing.
It is marketing, but it's experiences, right? Right? Because we're in an era where everything's about photo ops, and being there when someone else was, and you create a moment where someone wishes they would have made it to the last one, right? You know, I don't talk about how I hear what people say. I just don't talk, right?
Yeah.
I know that people are more excited to see what the heck I'm going to do next when it comes to event than necessarily the music, right?
Because they remember the last one.
Right, because they know we all showed up to a venue that's never done a rap show before, right? And they just walk in and I have a 30-foot tiger mouth and I walk out on a tongue, right? And they know I made it because they watched me make it on my Instagrams live, right? This time I'm being quiet. And boy, I can't wait, dog. Yeah. I'm ready. But Kanye's the best at that. Tyler Creator's amazing at that.
I have a question. Didn't you say you had a?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So for the artist just starting out, let's say an artist has that mindset, right, to create the proper aesthetic. What are some of the things that they can do, in your opinion, that's a little cheaper? Because every artist don't start out with a lot of money, a lot of funding.
Yeah,
so what's something simple they could do to create an aesthetic for what they want to do?
The idea that you can't get it done with little is, I think, is a wrong perspective. That tiger mouth, right? I think you've seen the stuff.
I've seen it. Yeah.
It cost me $200.
Okay.
To make that, right?
Yeah.
It's if I showed you the materials that me and Sebastian made it out of, it would blow your mind. It's drop cloth, hot glue, and insulation foam.
Okay.
All of that came from Home Depot. It took me 4 nights and we made it, right? It's pretty simple.
Jam.
My biggest advice would be, if you're starting out, no one is waiting for it.
Exactly.
So
say that again.
If you're starting out, no one's waiting for it.
Yeah.
I think I'm even in that space, right?
Yeah.
As artists, we tend to want to make and put it out as fast as possible, right? The best thing we can do is take our time, make sure every piece is put together correctly, and then go. So like maybe you can't afford $1,000 this month, but if it takes you 6 months to figure out how to fund $1,000 to get it done, take 6 months, right? And it sucks to hear that because I am honestly the worst at that most of my life. I fight it so bad in my head.
Fight what?
Rushing things, right?
Because you wanna rush it.
I want it out.
Right? Yeah,
you have this internal like clock that feels like it's telling you get it out, right?
Yeah.
But really, if you're putting out music, your music people should not hear your music for 6 to 8 weeks before you submit it to your streaming systems, right? Because you upload it, but you hold it because it takes that long to be able to pitch and plan ahead of time to maybe get on a playlist, maybe get picked up by a blog, right? You're supposed to wait 6 to 8 weeks. So just that alone should tell you, take your time.
Yeah, it's a product. Like you put the product out, and then you go market it, but you have to have it out so people know where to land to go get it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Just take your time. That's all. Just take your time. I say work 6 months and out. That's how.
We're going to come back to that.
Yes, sir.
We're going to come back to that. And man, listen. This is a very, very good conversation.
I might always have conversations like with you in life anyways.
Yeah, last time we linked up, I was at your crib for a minute.
Talking sauces, bro.
Talking sauce. Yeah, we had the sauce. So, yeah, man, episode 16 of the Midnight Oil, man. Good conversation. Sitting here with Wizard Kelly, with 80 and our special guest tonight, Sam E. Hughes. So we're going to take a quick intermission and we're going to get into another buttery mix by our girl, our sister, the Dawn, all the time with all the shine. Dawn Rock. Going to take a little 11, 12-minute break. Keep it locked right here, man. Episode 16, man. Real stuff.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio.
Oh, y'all don't go nowhere, all right?
All right.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio. Home of your throwback jams.
DJ Donnie Love, baby. Danny, play something that people can feel. Got me hypnotized. get nicer, so with this. Caught up in the mix, lost between your hips. Now I got chopper burning while the record spin. Started with the kids, end up in your ribs. Might fuck around, have for some kids. Cause you got that, you got that, you got that good love, yeah. You got that, you got that, you got that good love, yeah. You got that, you got that, you got that good love. That good, yeah.
To the borderline, UK hot with it, blue spots with it, every continent love when I spit it, corners the blocks, even the cops feel it, brothers on lockdown, all they cops feel it, it's real in the field, the last Mohican, who survived in the streets and did something decent, now I got plans to buy the whole hood, legit now, I ain't got a lot of no judge, I make hits now, money I flip now, hood fella, every honey wanna kiss now, I lit up my neck, pinky and wrist now, so girls everywhere, this how we get down.
Say what's your price? Just to back it up, you can hold my eyes. Now let's say you owe me something.
Yeah, hold me back like you owe your tax. Hold me back like 40 acres to blacks. Pay me back when you shake it like that, girl.
Surely, price. Back it up, eyes. Now let's
like you owe you. Hold me back like 40 acres. Pay me back when you shake it like that.
Just to back it up. Now let's take it home.
Hold me back like you owe your rent. Hold me back like you money I spent. Pay me back when you shake it like that.
In the morning, I wake up to fight for my yearnings. The fear in my mind is a warning. Pray to the one you're relying. I've been wandering all day. I tried to be fine, but I can't be. The noise in my mind wouldn't leave me. I tried to get by, but I'm burning. And behind my mind, it runs. All these thoughts of trouble me. Fighting to give up my pain. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running to the other side. When it's time to leave my life, then it tries to take me out. Tell you what I need, right? Yeah. I really need time now. I need to free mind now. I really need my love. I need to free my mind now. I really need
decided I wanna live. I decided I wanna give. Keep it pushing, be positive. Get with Max, just relax and build. Hold it down, lift each other up through the coming months, even when the summer's done. When the heat simmers down, I'll keep it cool, cause I'm up a tune. You watch Millie bloom down on the boulevard while I cruise. Sipping high tea in the middle of high noon. I think I'm fancy, my pinky's up. No ego tripping, I like detours. We haven't bound, so I had to pack. We even greater when the eyes are stacked. I sympathize and then I improvise. I wanna like hi-hats. I'm that determined till the curtains close. The rebirth is slick talk, sipping love. So take a drink and fill your cup up. I wish you abundance, my body's sun-kissed. I'm on a tangent, I might just scat. Smoke jazz, get my elephants on, fix souls. Roll with the punches, speak more life on the tongue. Put the phone down, let the brain roll. Wherever it may, watch June bugs hit the window pane. And by July, me and C, we sky high. A bird's eye view, this a big old smile. This a reason for gratitude. This us plateau, we ain't above the bull. We gon' ride even when they gon' tug and pull. We spread love, you park to the avenues. If you gon' trip, then remember to drop some jewels.
I already made up my mind. Ain't nobody taking what's mine. Take me to the mountain. There's no other way than I'll climb. I can't tell you how far we go. Twisting turns all down this road. I'm just glad I found it. I'm just glad I found it. DJ Donnie Love, baby.
Baby, I should. I made him feel, and the name was pressure. See, we be making love constantly. That's why my eyes are shade. But the way that we kiss is unlike any other way that I be kissing. What I'm kissing, what I'm missing, won't you listen? Brown sugar, babe. I guess high up your love, I don't know how to say it. I want something else.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio, home of your throwback jams.
And we back. Episode 16 of the Midnight Oil. Mighty Jai, AD. We're sitting here with our special guest, Sammy Hughes.
Sir.
That was another smooth mix by our girl, Don Rock. Here with us in spirit and in mix and in vibe. Hope all is well with you, sister. And
indeed.
Yeah, man. So we always have these conversations when we off the mic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some we keep to ourselves. Some we touch on just a tad bit. A couple of things before it's a couple of things I want to touch on while we was off the mic, but it was something that we were getting into. We were talking about taking your time with your creations, which I think and I think, you know, you was talking about like the fight, the rush, because you want to get it out. You just want to get it out. You just want to get it out. And it seemed like today, you know, with everything being instant everything. It's like everything, you just add hot water to it. Add, you know, stick it in the microwave. I feel like we live in a microwave
absolutely.
society, a microwave industry, especially when, you know, America is part of, we like speed.
We have a binge culture.
Speed. So to be in a space where a lot of the outside world is still on speed. How do you maintain the importance of, hey, I'm gonna work like a wood burning fire?
I mean, it depends on who you want to be, right? Do you want to be someone who puts out, I'm trying to think of an artist specifically.
I'll come up with a name.
Someone who does something super, like a rapper that puts out work all the time.
Talk about a currency.
Currency,
all the time.
That Negro would drop a song a day.
Yeah, I mean, I like that about him. I don't, it kind of just.
I like it and I don't like it.
Yes, I like that he does it, but I was going to get at his quality music. I actually love his music. So it kind of goes against my argument, but do you want to be that person or do you want to be Kendrick? Right? How long have we been waiting for this next album?
Yeah.
Right?
2-3
mystery.
Right? So that album with that name, right? And the fact that he's wearing cowboy boots in the first photo with it, we got something, bro. I don't know who
that name is hard.
So good, bro.
Yeah.
That name is hard.
So there's quality, right? There's always good quality. It's easier to get quality in today's era than ever, right? You can do it pretty fast, but it's also a good plan, right? Again, if you have a mechanism in place like a currency, you can push it out pretty fast, right? And it's also even though he gets a song a day, he's working at least 6 to 8 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just because of how distribution works. But if you're not someone like that everyone's waiting for all the time, take your time. You have to be all the hats. So create, switch your hat, plan, figure out what your marketing is, be that guy, figure out what your content is, be that guy, hoard it all, and then when it's time to come, you have it laid out, right?
Yep.
Nothing is successful without a good plan. And that's not just music, that's life.
Yeah.
Right? So take your time, plan. The great thing about being just starting off is you got a first impression and you also have all the time in your life, right? That's what causes a sophomore slump in rappers, right? Because they have their whole life to prepare for that first album.
Yep.
And then they have
a year or something.
About a year.
Right. So, again, yes, we would all like to have an infinite amount of albums, but if you get one amazing first album, you're good. If you do it right, you're good. Right?
Yeah.
And after that, everything else can just be for the love because you can just create.
But that's why, like with artists going in their sophomore slump, when you also look at who they're like signed to or like who's around, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's your team.
There's a schedule, you know what I mean? Because Kendrick was allowed to be Kendrick because he didn't come through the major first. He came through in independent.
Right, there's a filter through top.
Yeah, so there's like somebody there to say, "Nah, brother, this is amazing. Let's," you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he had a long time before he got to that space, right? He had a different name. He had a different style.
Well, I mean, between Good Kid, Mad City, and then the next project,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Also because they're a smaller organization.
Yes,
they end up getting it. They're bigger now, right? They can do whatever they want. But the biggest misconception is there's a solo artist.
Yes,
there's no such thing as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Right. There's your producers, right? That's at least half of it, right? 40% of how the song comes out. the person who never gets credit, which is the engineer, which is something that I personally am changing how I think the world should operate there. My engineer gets publishing. Because in my opinion, without those three, my music doesn't exist. But if you're me as an artist, I am the product. So then who's in charge of the marketing? I might have the ideas for the marketing, but I don't have the bandwidth to control that, right?
Yeah.
Where's the funding come from, right? Who's investing in the space? Who's running the admin work, right?
Yeah.
So like you have to build the team. Maybe it takes a time. You have to create an album, sit on an album, and it takes you a year to convince 6 of your friends to join the team and be like, look, if I can crack this, we can do it together.
Yeah.
Is this not amazing art, right?
Yeah.
Make the art, build a team, create the plan, and go to market.
But that's why I like Top, because they do that with a lot of their artists, with the exception of Ransom, who's a newer artist to them. He puts out some good music out of Clip. But when it comes to SZA, when it comes to Kendrick, like they really take their time to massage what's going on.
It's because they create, even down to their visuals, they look simple at times, right? But they are so complex.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I was just going over what is the video? The Isaiah Rashad video where it's all on a Jeep, right? Me and my video guys were going over it, and we're just talking about the video. It seems like a simple idea. It just exists in this car. But the lighting alone to execute what they executed without the shadows, right. It probably took them 5 days to get just that video shot in the car. The camera angles, the way they edit, the manual zooms, the flickers and the fish eyes, etc. Right? Like all of that takes time. Just take your time, man.
Yeah, I
think COVID should have taught everyone that, right? Like, slow down.
Yeah. Well, no, my thing is like, especially in America, we're so, like you were saying, fixated on fast, got to be first, right? And I like to look at history a lot. So like, one, artists who really take their time, they seem to last the longest, right? And think about America's like trying to get to the moon, right? It's such a competition with Russia to be the first on the moon that there are people now who question if we ever got there in the first place.
Correct, because we wanted to be perceived as we did it
exactly. But if we would have taken our time, I'm pretty sure if we would have taken our time and got some tangible evidence that we were at the moon, not just a picture or a
video where the shadows are misplaced.
If we would have brought something back or something, whatever the case may be, it's a different conversation. I feel like it's the same with music. You know what I mean? It's when you put out music at such a high clip and these artists are just throwing music out, it's like, this is cool, but are you really an artist or are you just here for the money?
A machine, right?
Yeah. So when artists take their time, like a J. Cole or whatever, and Currency puts out a lot of music frequently, I'm under the impression that one, he makes a lot of music like how we're saying, he takes his time and then hoards it, and then when he's putting it out week by week, it's like it seems like seems like he's recording often, but it's just like, no, I have all this music, and instead of giving it in one project, I'll put it on an EP or
just let it go, right?
Make a couple of things, but it's the same concept. You know what I mean? It's just how you package.
He strikes me as a person that he's good with catching lightning in a bottle.
Yes,
and that's a like the spontaneity.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the mood to record, as opposed to damn. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so it's like
I have this equipment right here.
Yeah, so I'm gonna record, but we don't got to put this out now.
Yeah,
let's put it away, and when I'm ready, we'll see what to do.
I got like 40, 50 songs. Most of them will never be heard.
Yeah,
right. I created the resources to be able to create the way I freely, right? That's one of the reasons I created a studio, was to give my peoples a living and me the ability to create free, right? Create your resources to be able to make music, right? Just hold, right? There's no rush. Work 6 to 8 weeks out, bare minimum, if you're just going to release singles without videos, right?
Yeah.
Videos take time. Pitching takes time. With like a big artist like Kendrick, every music video is done before you even heard that title. Guaranteed, right? Like, I'll have half my album's worth of videos done before I announce the date for the project, right? Like, we're already in the midst of it. I'm already on video 2, and I'm not releasing this project till late July, early August, right? So, stack, create content. Content's key, right? And there's simple ways to make quality. Like, so quality isn't a problem anymore. It's taste, right? Because
I wish. Why did you say that word without the Don being here? That's a word.
I'm a little bummed she's not here. I've only had minor interactions with her, and I watched her from a distance. We run into each other a couple times, and she pulled up and said, "What's up?" Blah blah blah. Right. I was actually really excited to have a conversation with her.
That's a word.
That's Don. That's Don thing.
That's
I feel like we're from a similar
being
club.
a taste maker.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
I've always quietly felt I was that in a certain
in
way.
everything, in everything, in everything that pertains to, once again, you were talking about the experience and drawing people in. So it's like, not that you have to touch and be a part of everything, but the things that you do touch
is your taste.
Taste.
And I like that.
Kanye's flavor is Kanye's flavor, right? It's his new world, post-apocalyptic, minimalism, kind of dark, right? He became the villain after the Taylor Swift decision. Tyler, the Creator, has this Wes Anderson approach to things that feels good. It's soulful. It feels like vintage Europe, right? And everything he touches has that space.
Yep.
Taste. Toby.
Yep.
It's mint, right? It's this monochromaticness where he's creating his own village of his family, and they're doing it on their own, right? You know it's his because it's a taste.
Yeah.
You know a Pharrell record from a mile away because you hear his taste.
And the 4 count.
Yes, well, when it's
he's the last of a dying breed.
The 4 count, right? The 4 on the floor.
Yeah.
He only does that. I heard him in a quote. He only does that when he knows it's a hit.
Yep.
Right? Like that's the hit record.
That's my guy. You know, that's my producer. So
love
yeah.
Pharrell. I mean, I think he's one of the greatest to ever do it.
Crit is another one. That's taste.
It's just, you know what you're getting from him. So in an era where so many rappers and so many artists sound so similar, right? They don't sustain, most of them, long term. It's because you're making songs. You're not creating worlds.
Yeah.
Right? So they're looking for hits. They're not looking to create a universe that people want to exist in.
Yeah.
Right? That's the difference between the longevity and the greats.
Yeah.
Right? You know what a Jay-Z world is. You know
Rick
Ross's world. You know Kendrick's world. You know J. Cole's world, right? That's why the greats tend to create labels.
Yep.
Even Gotti, right? You know what's coming from his
That's
world.
my executive of the damn near decade.
He kills it, bro.
Yeah.
Kevin Gates, even he has put on a lot of people in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And even though he doesn't keep a lot of them as a label, you know who came from his space,
like
right?
Gucci.
Yeah, same.
Like Gucci.
Right? And that's what makes it great, right? Greatness is not just being great. Greatness is who you help become great along the way. That's what keeps a legacy, right? I've always held that on very tight. I had a grandfather tell me that, right? Like, it's not about just your journey, it's who you help along the way. And I've always felt a burning desire inside to always help people. Bro, if I would have got a chunk of everything I've touched, I wouldn't have to do anything anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just keep it a buck. And I don't care. I don't care if anyone knows anything that I've ever helped. Everyone I've ever touched, not my business. I just want to see the next man do well, right?
Yeah.
They know, right?
Yeah.
And they give me my love where it deserves in our room. And that's all that matters to me, man. That's my people's, right? So create your taste, create your palate, right? And that's it, right? Someone will like the same flavor as you.
Yeah.
Right.
I do like that. The people who are tastemakers in the industry,
Don't let me hold up, man. Don't let me. These people watching me eating up everything on this board, man. Like, don't do me like that.
I'm usually one to like help and dive in, but the conversation is so.
I got my golds in, and I almost swallowed them
so
too long ago. So like I'm
man, y'all don't listen. That cheese,
yeah. But the artists who are tastemakers these days, like one person I've watched like grow into a tastemaker, like really a tastemaker, is Young Thug.
Yo, Young Thug. I
Young
think he's
Thug
so
is
slept
like
on.
he's
becoming more appreciated in modern music.
It's like, and I didn't notice it until Jeffrey, until that album, when I really was like, oh man, this man ain't no rapper. This is an artist here. This is like in the 80s, he might have been, 70s, 80s, he might have been a Marvin Gaye type of guy. Like we don't.
And his label has his taste.
Yeah.
And
it makes sense.
I was not this is someone I did not digest well at the beginning, right?
I don't think a lot of people did.
What changed my mind was I wish I could find this article because I talk about it all the time and I can never find it. There is a music critic, right, who was not from our culture, and he said that he was the greatest, right? And then I read a thing that said Andre 3000 said that was his favorite artist in the game. So it made me kind of like look at it differently. This guy broke down Young Thug not as a rapper, but as a music composer, and was comparing his voice and different songs right to like French horns and different classical compositions and stuff.
He definitely uses that as an instrument.
But also as an executive, I align him with Ross, because if you look at what Ross did with Maybach Music and signing Meek Mill and Wale, right? He pretty much just signed two of his sides.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like YSL, like Young Thug, did the same exact thing with the Lil Baby and Gunna. Like you can see the influence in both, and you can see when he
What side he's talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so it's like, and that's where the world is created.
You see a little bit of J. Cole and everybody on that label.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's because they come from the same world, right? Like, not that they actually came from the same world, but like where their music sounds like, right? Like, if it was a video game or a movie or alternative universe, like they all walk from that same space, right?
Yeah, it's just super dope, because like if you take Wale and Meek, like they're two totally different lanes, like, but the centerpiece is Ross. So when Ross is on the record with him, it makes perfect sense,
especially when it's Wale. I ain't gonna lie, I like when Ross and Wale. It's something. I love Wale. It's something about it.
Wale is so underrated.
It's something about it. I think I hear the rhythm. You know what I'm saying? It's something about the rhythm.
It's like for me, when Ross does his thing with Wale, it's more like of the conversation.
Yeah.
Versus when he does his thing with Meek, it's more of the action of what's going on. You know what I mean?
I think he treats the Meek side as like the sport of rap, right? And then the other side's the vibe.
Exactly.
That's two sides of hip hop, right?
Exactly.
Like,
but that's two sides of Ross.
You got your Rakim and your Daddy Kane. It's just a derivative of hip hop, right? You're either your vibe or your action.
Yeah.
Right? It's flow types, right? And I break this down all the time. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. The cadence and then the way their vernacular.
Same
so those are the two sides, right?
Same difference.
And that's what all hip hop and some way of flow to me drives.
And in the middle is Ali.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice little breakdown.
Yeah.
I like that.
Like, I think I'm a derivative of Martin, Daddy Kane, right? Like, I think that's where my cadence, right? The derivative of where I find my influence, right? Like, it wasn't originally obviously from listening to his speeches, but it's because everything I like comes from that spectrum on the side, right? I like the soul.
Yeah. Yeah, Kane is my...
Smooth.
If you like Daddy Kane?
If I had to pick him, I would rock him all day. I think Kane, his persona alone...
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, like...
You can see, I rock suits, bro. Right? Like, I have a bar in one of the new rock records that...
Kane, suits and chains.
Kane is the influence that I would, like, say I started my branding, even as, like, because everybody starts as rappers. But even in my media and DJ... and letting the deep voice thing go, like, do its thing, and wearing the shirts and the hats, and that's all. My whole thing was Kane. Like, don't get it mistaken, Rakim is God, like, especially with the flow, but just the persona and the vibe of Kane is
total package.
Yeah,
it's
man.
It's a different thing, right?
Yeah,
like, total package.
Yeah. Kane, Marvin Gaye, that's where they give me Teddy P. They give me them.
Yeah. Total package.
Same kind of.
That's the music my mom played.
Yes.
Every Sunday, my mom had vinyl spinning, and it was something in a soulful space, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's where that derivative of hip hop is, right? It has a smoothness to it. That's what I love, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love the sport of rap. I love like MC stuff, right? Like Lupe and not early New York, right? But to me, the chop of like the samples and like that shaking nod that comes from your head. That's not something I listen to all day. I listen to that for sport, right?
Yes.
I think people forget that hip hop is it's a contact sport.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it is. At its bare core, it's a mental flex, a ability to execute, and it's I'm better than you. Take it. I mean, you can take it back to the flexing of oh my God, Sugar Hill, right? I got a colored TV so I can see basketball, right? Like, I've got a colored TV, you don't, right?
Yeah.
It's I'm better than you. It's a contact sport, right? It's I got a better 16. So we all have that, but the older I get, the less that I'm trying to prove to you that I'm better than you. I'm just confident in what my capability is.
Right.
And I just want to give you a good feeling.
That's the evolution, because hip hop it used to be a young person's game, and when we were talking earlier, now you have Pusha T fans who are his age.
Or you got Griselda cracking in their 40s.
Yeah,
right.
You have
doing something.
Freddie Gibbs really cracked when he's been at it for a while, but
he wasn't famous until
So even like Gibbs. Jay, like 444 was perceived differently because
he grew with the genre.
Yeah,
I think
exactly. We're at the elder statesmen are old enough now
and
to
now,
do that thing.
You know, it's the youngest genre. It's the youngest genre. It's the most popular genre. I feel like it's the most powerful.
Yeah,
and like it's American culture.
And since all eyes are on
pop
it,
culture.
We're watching it. We're watching it age and grow.
It's early
in real time.
Yeah, in real exactly.
Real time.
We're now right. People did not think it was going to last the way it did, but the fact that it's lasted this many generations, we're now getting our Sinatras.
Yeah.
Right. Like
yes,
we're getting that age bracket of seasoned, well aged wine or cheese. Like and the palate is there and it's becoming.
And they
mature.
don't need to be in big arenas. They don't need to. They don't want that necessarily. They want intimacy because that's what you want when you get older. That's the evolution of a person.
Intimacy.
Yeah. I mean, I think the best career as a rapper is being able to sell 2,000 people any city in the world, right?
Yeah.
That's Freddie Gibbs. That's a Currency. That's a Big Crit.
Larry June,
yeah. Right? Like that pocket, right? That's what I consider the art house, right? I was talking about art, like the taste. You see it with like bigger artists, right? Like I was listening to academics and a couple people talk about Lil Baby and Nas X, right? Doing record numbers, right? If you look online, you would say we're in quotations. A lot of people say the Lil Baby era, right? Or in the Nas X, right? They're breaking records, but they're not translating to stages, right? Why has Nas not took off on a tour?
Yeah,
because they can't move the ticket sales. Why did Baby's tour get pulled and he had to come back as a dual tour? I believe it's with
Chris Brown.
Yeah, it's because he's not moving the tickets. It's a different world, right? There are arena rappers, but I think it takes time.
Yeah,
right. Like
it take a lot of time.
Yeah,
there's a very few people I think who can take that stage.
They try to do that with Chance.
That's the biggest disappointment in hip hop.
Yeah,
I'm so sad.
Fucked up.
Yeah.
His last single was not bad though. Have you heard it? Do your thing, child.
I wasn't the biggest Chance. I really wasn't. Maybe I always knew it. Whatever you feel is disappointing, I probably I don't know. I probably always knew it.
The Big Day. Are you familiar with the album?
Yeah.
What is the concept of the Big Day?
About him getting married.
Correct.
Yeah.
Most people thought it was his big day for his first album. They did not sell it to us correctly.
Yeah.
No one understood what it was.
Yeah.
If the packaging and rollout was done the right way.
Yeah.
But he was from the era of effortless rollouts, right?
Yep.
Because like Acid Rap, Coloring Book.
The Coloring Book just popped. They didn't.
They weren't albums.
Yeah.
Right? Even though I took them as albums, right? But they weren't, right?
Yeah.
They were just organic growth and stuff.
I also think too, it was like just listening to that album. It's like
it's not for me. The beats were wrong.
Yeah. I'm not married. I'm nowhere close to being married.
I understand what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I do.
But it's not for me.
I just think too with that whole they let the confusion of the mixtape of Coloring Book go too long, like the blurred lines from the Grammys and all that. It could have easily just been like, no, this is my debut album here, the big day of my debut album, and
I think they held on to it to make him seem like he was the groundbreaking person who changed the system because they changed the rules for that album, right? To me, that's a really cool legacy to walk away with, right? And that was them politicking, right? Because he was supported by the greats. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Kanye, right? They love Chance.
Yeah.
So the fact that he failed after that bothers me. I think it's him taking on a different kind of production the wrong way.
Yeah.
He had a couple singles like Inglewood, you hear that record and stuff like that. Those songs were good to me, but then the album it lost everything that we fell in love with Chance for.
It's just because we kind of over time fell out of love with Chance. It was like we like
he
our
grew up and we didn't like him as a grown up.
Yeah, but he grew up fast.
He was that puppy that was adorable until it rips up.
Yeah, it was like Acid Rap was like Acid Rap, and then Coloring Book was like Coloring Book. You don't want no problems with me, and then now you're talking about marriage, like. We can't grow with you. You know what I mean? That fast. We're talking about artists who are growing. Like Jay-Z didn't get married till he was what, 30 something?
Yeah. I mean, I think Chance is.
Yeah. Like
I think Chance is. Really
I'm a hustler, baby. I need that. You know what I mean?
You gotta hold it because we want to see the growth.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see, and everybody wants to soil their oats first, right? And we didn't get to see that from Chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he did, right? Because I was his girl and they left and they got back together, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's happy as he could ever be because he's an independent artist for everything, right? So he's rich as fuck. But he became, my opinion, a Christian rapper without ever being a Christian rapper, right? Like that album to me is to a T what clients I work with, because I work in the gospel space sometime at the studio, the kind of music they make.
Yeah.
If he would have marketed it in that space, I think they call it Myrrh, right? He would have gone Myrrh, right? You know, and charted. Bro, I damaged too many brain cells now. What happened to that Chance for me, right? Like, I love that. And then Coloring Book was the reminiscence of his past life, right? Juke Jams was the jam.
I would have wanted the big day to be about his emergence from Coloring Book to now.
To be grown.
The Grammys experience, the whole nine. I don't
need your wedding day album.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
sorry.
Like,
I hate to say that. I get it. You paid homage to your wife.
You should have made that shit one song.
He might have did some stupid ass shit that we don't know about, and that was the way he got back in the grace with his wife.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, he got to
make a whole album about it. I'm gonna flop my whole career.
Yo, I'll sacrifice it all.
He could have made that one song and put it on the end, or made it a concept of being married to the game. Like Wale does great with the matrimony and
yes,
like
absolutely.
that concept. You know what I mean? Of being married to the game, but wanting to be married to a woman. You could have easily done.
Have you heard his new single though?
Wale?
No, Chance.
No.
He dropped a new thing, and they're actually like, he put this like not so famous artist as like the focus of the video, and he's like sitting in the room. It's a good song.
Yeah.
It's way better than The Big Day. Give it a chance. I actually like. I would like to give him another chance. Pun intended. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Right? This song has me looking to see what comes next, but
it's just like the people that support you, bro, came out the gate and just stayed out the gate on fire. Like you got Jay-Z.
I think it's that he's not with. Do you know who Pat the Manager is?
No.
So Pat the Manager is a guy who just like this kid who saw something in Chance before he was anybody, right?
Yeah.
Heard him rap a couple times and was like, whatever you need, let me know. He did the entire rollout from the first album first mixtape on, right? He's the one that sat down, strategized with Chance's dad. I've listened to Pat the Manager talk a lot. He's a huge music manager and sports agent now. But he like dedicated his life to Chance, right?
Yeah.
And they had a breakup somewhere around the end of Coloring Book. I think losing Pat the Manager was losing the balance to the situation, right?
That can be.
Because he created... there's a long interview with him. You should check him out. He's like this like long haired, goofy, chubby white dude. Like he's brilliant. But he picked up Donald Passman, Everything You Should Know About the Music Business. You read the book?
Yep.
It's the Bible.
Of course.
He waves it like the Bible in the video, and he's like, someone just handed me this book. Obviously, I think we all know who Chance's dad is at this point, right? Like he's a political strategist and campaign manager for Obama and for other people, right? So he took the book, figured out how to structure and scale. Anybody listening who's trying to figure out how to create every aspect you need for it, it's a really good place to start, right? But that guy ran everything and created the entire mechanism, not Chance. Most people don't know that, right? And when they split,
you need to have the mechanism.
I always assumed that he lost his balance. And so then when he left him, that album was his first album on, was it a label?
Maybe partnered.
Something, right? It was some kind of, right? So he had to find the balance.
Yeah.
But instead of doing the person who understood he was at a core, he handled a business that is suits and ties solely that understand business, not the culture. So then I think maybe that's why we lost him.
Yeah.
That's my only speculation. I don't know the truth, but I know Pat is no longer in the picture, and that's unfortunate.
Now, since we're on that, talking about management, let's talk about a little bit about the importance of management in your career, where you headed at, and your management situation.
I've had some really shitty managers in the past, right? I'll be the first person to tell you to, until you can get a manager, find a friend who you trust with everything.
Yeah.
Even friends fuck you over in the long run. Just be careful, right? I empowered someone when I was young, and thought I trusted him, and I watched him steal everything from me. Me and Vinny went through a lot of that when we were young. Most people don't know that. But, you know, I've done everything by myself with like Max. I trust Max Foreman, my engineer. He's very involved in my process of everything.
Shout out to Max Foreman.
Yeah, Max is the GOAT. If you haven't checked Max out, check him out. Max Foreman, my personal opinion, the best engineer in the city. He has the best taste, and I won't work without him.
Yeah.
That's why we own a studio together. But I recently was able to sign a unique management deal that encompasses me as an artist, as the driving force, and they understand what I'm trying to create, right? I think, again, no such thing as solo artists. Not everyone is blessed, right? And I would say lucky to get the opportunity that I got. As much as I do think I earned it, I think God had a lot to do with it, and I think luck had a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Luck favors the most prepared. But having what I have now and the opportunity with Dan Drune and Skylar Gray, which they own a company called Gray Gale. I worked with him in this capacity, in this facet at one point when we signed a country artist. That's what I've been doing for a couple of years. Most people didn't know that. I actually was writing country music, doing tour management, brand management.
Knock it off, man.
For his name was Kenzie Wheeler. He was second place on The Voice. And we ended up like doing a bunch of stuff. And that's what I've been doing for years, right? I thought I was done again with rap. Like I really did. I didn't think I was going to do this again.
Yeah.
I found a niche that I was really good at, and I was not a fan of country music, but a lot of people I knew listened to it growing up. Like my little brother sings with soul, but that boy loves country. It's the weirdest thing to me.
Yeah.
He grew up just the way I did, and I don't understand how he digs it like he does.
Give it an influence, man.
But I fall in love with some of the old stuff, honestly. But that's why I like the kid. So I watched him always take the moral high road, watched him have every opportunity to do people bad. I've never seen him do it. And I've been in business with this man in different ways as well. I watched him just eat debt, and eat L's for peace, right? And for the better good of the picture, right? Also understand that he's here not because he needs to, because he don't need to do shit anymore with his life. He's made it, right? So under having that relationship coming into what I'm doing, I know what he's capable of. I know where his focus is and how hard he works at every aspect of his life. And I understand that he's here for love, right? That is his special place. Don't sign paperwork unless you trust and there's love, right?
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise it's here for business, which we all are, right? It's all about making a living, right? But it takes someone who has that mindset to balance our mindsets.
Yeah.
And don't take your first option. If I can give advice, a temporary fix is a permanent problem. Learn that the hard way. You know, that's I've eaten a lot of shit because of that. You know, let's just figure out how to fill up the hole real quick, right? Or fill your molar and the cavity comes back.
Then you
right?
need a root canal later.
But this new situation, I'm on the path of creating the best I've ever created, and I know I'm creating greatness. Right? I know it's always been in me. I've never had the resources and the full team. So taking the moves and the strategy and the plays I've taken and making sacrifices to do other stuff led me back to making music once again. And once it's in you, man. Like, you're coming back one day. You know, it's coming.
Speak it over me. Speak it over me. Speak it over me.
But it gave me the opportunities I have today, and I can't say details because I want it to roll out the way I want it to roll out.
Yeah.
But just pay attention because I'm going to shuffle the cards creatively in the scene one more time.
I heard you talk a lot about team building, picking a team.
Yes.
Explain, one, the importance of having a team, but two, how do you go about picking a team?
I think trust is key one, right? And transparency is key. Everything is creating a win-win, and you have to know what people's motives are, right? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Right? And as long as you know and are upfront about it, because no reason is wrong, just be real, right? So that's a big thing about it. I'm lucky to have created relationships with people over the years, doing business and being parts of other things in my life, where I just have these intimate relationships with people. Like, my opinion, one of the best videographers in the city, or in the area, is a group of guys called Motion Minds. One of them is Kyle O'Brien. Does all my videos with me. That is someone I'm very close to, one of my closer friends in this world, and he is committed to seeing me succeed, right? Mm-hmm. So he does it with the love and gives it the same passion I do. There's that relationship. My girlfriend is brilliant at what she does. She's a hustler. She is so good at so many different things. Obviously, there's a commitment to wanting to see what comes out of that, right? She's a social media strategist and manager, and she runs marketing for other things as well. Half of my management deal is Skylar Gray, is someone I grew up with who I trust literally with my life. Yeah. Right? I could put $1 million on the table. He wouldn't take a penny without asking. He lives next door to me. We live in like a village. I believe in like a village raises a child, like that kind of life. That is my guy since we were kids. Our life, we're cut from similar cloths our whole way. My videographer is someone I met through me owning the art creation company for years, the Heart stuff with Kat Mata. She's Vaughn.co or Vaughn Kajina. Check her out. She owns Water in downtown Tampa above the Hub. It's a photography and videography studio. Got to check it out. But she's the GOAT. And she's one of my closest friends in the world. I'm blessed to have that relationship with her, and she believes in what I do as much as I believe in her. So there's a, intimacy. But not everyone's lucky enough to have those talents. You just have to have someone who believes in what you're doing and someone who's willing to work, right? Yeah. A lot of people go in this world without purpose, and we just go to jobs and we come home. We don't love the jobs we do, right? Whether you're an accountant out of necessity, you're a nurse. If someone in your life, all right, back up a little bit. Being a artist is being a salesman.
Mm-hmm. Being an artist is what?
Being a salesman.
Being a salesman?
You are selling your tastes, your music, who you are, what you're capable to every person who you want to see what you do as a product, right? So your closest friends should be your first supporters. The idea that your best friend should get into your show for free when you're starting up, it's a fucked up concept. That should be the first person to buy your t-shirt and pay it, right? My mom has never asked to be on a guest list. My mom has shown up and bought a t-shirt everything I've ever done since I was performing in the projects in Tampa, right? Like she show up to the sketchiest place in the world, like nothing's wrong with her best friend. That's my baby, right? Buying her shirt, right? And all her friends would buy a shirt. My brothers do the same. So those people who treat your product like that, those are the people you need to sell. Yep. To be committed to you as well. Because if they are doing that, then they believe in you in some sense. Mm-hmm. So sell what the potential is. Find those people who have skill sets. Like maybe they're an accountant, right? Have them run your books. Yeah. And they have that like literal sense to their brain. Build that person. That person is the most important person, right? Because you can figure out your marketing strategy, how you want to be branded. Through an iPhone, you can figure out how to make an album art, right? Yeah. Like Gallardo has his own app that'll make your album art, right? Things like that. So if you're creative, so you kind of understand all your flavor. But if you're going to be all in as a creative, you got to have the other side. So find that person that's in your life that you trust, that already is supporting you organically, and sell them the idea. Mm-hmm. Because if they put the equity and they hustle with you, if you crack, they crack, right? You're there together, right? That's why most
share success.
Yes, there's no such thing as a solo artist. I will say it over and over and over. Something I learned in the past few years. I've never heard someone say it except Cliff Brown. That's the first person, my partner, and he said no such thing as a solo artist. He's a producer. That's what he does, right? That idea, I think, is most artists' biggest root to their problem. Right, and what prevents them from getting out of their own way is because they think it's all about themselves and everything is supposed to be done by yourself. It's hard to trust someone and delegate tasks. But if you don't delegate, you only have so much bandwidth and you're not going to get shit done. Yeah. It's going to take 100 times longer to make any moves. Yeah. Find someone you trust, make sure you're good. If you think it needs to be in paperwork, just make sure you're good. But just understand intent and purpose of being here, and everything from there is fine, right? And shit happens, bro. I mean, we all take L's. You learn more from your L's than you do from your wins, right? I mean, I've been
probably have more losses than wins too.
Dude, I have lost my ass so many times. Y'all even know who this guy is, Mr. Van? You ever heard of him?
No.
You ever heard of this guy? Bro.
Who?
His name is Mr. Van. He is
Mr.
a
Van.
scam artist in the hip hop industry.
Nah.
Like, he did like legit time. He stole every dollar me and Vinny had for investment.
Damn.
When we were young, and like got in our manager's head and like convinced him something. We believed it at first as well. But he ended up going to prison. Now he goes by Geppetto Jackson.
Oh,
and like you know what I'm talking about now. That's his new branding, right?
Yeah.
Dog.
Oh, you heard of him?
He's huge, bro. He's like, he is literally scammed little old ladies' pension and retirement money because he sold them that their granddaughter had the ability to be the next big Disney star. Does this motherfucker have real shit that he's done in his life? Yes. Did I absolutely Skype, because this was back in the day when like Skype was there, all the Jacksons? 110%. Was I on Skype with Diddy's kids? 100%.
Yeah.
All real shit, right? He's stolen so many, I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars from people selling dreams. So like, trust me, we've all taken L's. And I think a big part of my life is to make sure the next kid don't take that L.
Yeah.
So I'm honest, bro. I lost my ass on that shit, right?
Yeah.
Lost trademarks, copyrights, patents, everything in that process, as well as every dollar we had.
MJG said it best on Paid Dues.
Yep.
He said I was about 17 when I signed my first contract, and about 18 and a half when I signed my worst contract. And we still heard from that. Yeah, man. I think it's part of the process though. Like, to take them licks.
Yeah.
Bro, you ain't
So
take them licks, man. Just take them licks and keep going.
Speaking of licks, right? You're a minority in our culture, right?
100%.
In the culture. What are some of the ways you've handled the critiques of being white in such a African American dominated culture?
I expect it.
Yeah.
Right? When I started, there weren't a bunch of me.
Yeah.
Right? And the community I grew up in is this community. I just don't look like it. Right? Be honest with you, I've taken more licks from the white side than anything.
Really?
I lost a lot of fucking friends
Yeah.
because I want to do this. As I got older and continued, that's where most of the problems have come in my life, right? But understanding the lineage of all music, I'm a guest in the house. Treat it with respect and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right? That's where my obsession comes with, like, making sure my bars are there, right? Because we've gotten to a point, this is something that gets under my skin. We were talking about, I have a problem with a lot of white rappers.
Yeah,
We're at a point where white rappers idolize a white rapper who idolized a white rapper. Now we're so far from the derivative of how the culture started, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Right? And like, that's why you have such things as like MAGA rap and hip hop, right? Because now they don't care about the culture.
Yeah.
So, but back to where we're getting at, it's expected, man. Like, if I'm going to come and I'm going to join this contact sport in a place where I know that this is not my lineage in a sense, right? Even though this is the culture I identify with, it's what I've done since I was a child, right?
Yeah.
It's given, right? And I believe it or not, man, I have not gotten that much bad feedback from the black community, but I think it's because I treat it with respect. You know, my music is going to be different because I have different influences that come from different spaces. It's inevitable, right? If I came out here and was trying to make trap music, we'd have a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Right? Then you're going to call me my bluff on me. But in the day, as I've always stayed true to myself, and authenticity is key, right? Taste is relative, but respect is important. So if you handle respect, what's the fucking problem?
I like
Yeah.
that.
That's why you fuck with Paul Wall.
But we were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up, I didn't really listen to him like that. There's a couple records, and he popped up on the Toby record, right? And oh, dope, Texas. So I really started digging back into the catalog and like where he drives from, how he does everything, right? Danny Chang, right? That's his business partner with all the grills and the culture he was part of, like all the swaying stuff. It's authentic. Be authentic, be yourself, right? And have respect.
Yeah.
A young me, articulate, like by the time you've met me, it was the first time I was encountering real white culture, right? And it was a weird thing for me, like getting into high school, right? Because I went to Sly for middle school. I went to Woodbridge, right? And I grew up as the minority in my neighborhood. Race was never a conversation in my house because I'm blessed to have the mother I have, right? Her best friends are black. Aunt Doris was a trans man, trans woman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Trans man. She was right. So like, my house was always everything. Right. My elementary school, I was minority. I did not. Dude, this is gonna sound crazy. I did not understand my complexion and what came with it until I got to high school. Right. I was almost a novelty in my community most of my life. Go back to my step team, right? Obviously, the only white dude on the step team. They gave me my names, and I wore it with a badge, white chocolate, and they gave me Casper, right? That was what they would put on my jerseys. I just took it, right? Yeah. I loved that, right? I appreciate it. Like, I felt as I was there because it was my community. When I got to high school is when I felt fucking weird shit, right? Like, it was about 6 months of high school where people thought I was albino because I was on the step team, right? And I had like super long curly hair, and like I talked a certain way, and like I'm far more articulate now than I ever was, and eventually, you know, I'm nice, I'm always love first, so it, you know, that community, the white community started accepting me as well. I learned a lot and experienced a lot of stuff through high school that I never thought I would experience, right? I'm be honest with you, the first time I ever heard someone say the slur, right, like, bro, I broke my neck, right?
Yeah.
Like, the fact that white people think they can say that, and I hear white rappers, bro, to this day, right? Like, I don't get that.
Yeah.
That's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
In hip hop right now. I'm not gonna say names, but there's dudes out here running around doing MAGA rap, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Right, that's wild, right? Is that, to me, I don't know how y'all feel, but I take that offensive.
And they didn't start out like that.
No,
they didn't stay. And that's
a couple of them
thing,
like that.
That's the thing that bugs me about one in particular. We can talk about it, but they didn't start out like that.
Not at all. It was a different culture.
Yeah,
but it was always fake to me. I had a whole right. The money bought the success, but if you know who his family lineage is, right, you know where the bread came from.
I know exactly.
So how it could happen. There's another artist who I'm not gonna say his name because he started off doing early stuff with me, and the boy can rap his ass off. He comes from the community. He made a name for himself, right? He went to prison doing what he did and came out, and then like through COVID kind of made a left turn and became that kind of political space of rap. He's from not Tampa or St. Pete, but adjacent. Boy's doing numbers. But he's doing numbers because he leaned into that world. That's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's a fucking problem. I'm sure most consumers in that space don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right? But this is something that grinds my gears, right? Like, you, be honest, when you bring up the topic, it's something that no one's ever asked me on an interview ever.
Really?
And it's something that in my friend circle, I am so anal about it. Like, there's one rapper in the city that I have an issue with, and I'm not going to say his name, and it's another white rapper, and it's because of that problem.
Yeah.
Right? You idolize a right rapper who idolize the right rapper, and you don't have respect for the lineage of the culture, and you do business and function in this space, as I said, a guest in the house, and the respect's not there. And to me, I could never do business because of that. No one knows publicly, but like, my soul bothers me if I do that, right?
Yeah.
That's just, sorry, I could literally go on a rant, dude, for hours.
Good question, Wizard.
But
hey, man, you know, man, I
appreciate
I
the
do
question.
some media stuff myself, you know.
I appreciate that question, man, because
we appreciate the answer.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
we appreciate the answer.
You know, I've never really, in my close friend circles, we've talked about it, but I've never done it. Like, you're a stranger to me, right? I've known you for years, but you're a stranger to me, and so I hope I answered. And you know, my truth is something that I'm going to live regardless. But I hope you respect where I stand. And I hope it's right, because then again, I feel it's a respect. Like, we talked about hip hop to its core before we got on camera.
Yeah,
we're talking about Daddy Kane. Like, I feel I have to know. You know what I mean? It's my culture as much as it's not. It's what I was raised on. And again, but we all know what Elvis is. We know what rock and roll is. We know what happened to Chuck Berry. That's derivative, right? That's our American culture, and hip hop is American culture. And if you don't know your history, you're going to repeat it.
Yeah.
I think if you're a white rapper, you should not even begin without knowing
the history,
the lineage, right?
Yeah.
And just music in general, right? Because then you're not going to make the same mistakes, right? There's a reason why I don't make certain kind of rap, right? Because that's not me, dog, right? Like, did I come from a family with gangsters? I did, but it's a different kind of gangster, right? Like, it's a suit and tie, right? But if I was out here, True Religion jeans, you know what I mean? Like doing that, I'd look stupid. I'd be a character of, right? That's a problem. And I think we see that a lot in hip hop. You know, there's a few people who do it right.
Yeah.
But very few people do it right? I think a Mac Miller did it right? I think Action Bronson does it right.
I fuck with Action Bronson.
Yeah.
I fuck with him more as a person.
Yeah, same. His character is bigger than his music.
Yeah.
I know a hot take that no one likes his album because of winning the Grammy that it won. I'm not a fan, but I respect him, which is Macklemore.
Macklemore, yeah.
Because if you knew him prior to that album, you understand where his lineage comes from.
Yeah, and if you know the Seattle scene, then you understand.
Yeah.
Like how he could be how he is.
Yes,
it makes
100%.
sense. It makes the thrift store shit that makes a lot of sense.
He cares.
Yeah.
Like he genuinely cares about the culture and the respects there, right? Like, who's the people he put on that song Downtown? Old school MCs. He brought back.
I can't even.
It's like one of our forefathers in a sense, right? And he had his own lineage of like I do my research, especially with those kind of artists, because why are you here?
Yeah.
Right. And why did you make it to where you made it? He was the poster boy. Most people don't know that he's a pill addict and a drunk, like really bad.
I know a little bit of his story.
Right. And there's a song called The Other Side. I think that's the name of it. That's what made him famous, right? And it became like the song for addicts. The album, The Heist, was a concept album. Most people don't realize that. He partnered with a guy who did plays and composed for like Broadway, and those singers on those albums came from those places. So the idea was to make a larger than life album that was basically a play that was going to hijack the industry independently, right? Hot take, hate the fucking record, but Thrift Shop, or whatever the fuck it was, is a massive cultural record.
Yeah.
It changed fashion, right? We have a concept of
look at it now.
Fuck fast fashion, right? So like H&M, Zara, that concept, right? We have this new thing where we want secondhand fashion. That is a massive mainstream concept because of that man.
Yeah.
The record, whatever, right? Not my thing.
But what it did,
the concept,
right, what it showed,
and he stayed to himself, and I think he was respectful. He felt he shouldn't win, right? It was, this words of the word. It was kind of cuckish of him to like, you know, publicly put it out there like that. Right? But I think he felt guilty as a guest in the house.
That's what I don't like, because it's not like, you know how the Grammys, they have these people who win. He's like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the case. Like, could Kendrick have won? Of course.
Album's amazing.
Yeah. But this guy winning, it's not like we did not know who this guy was.
Bro, massive
and he did
success.
numbers. So
independently for majority of the
so it was like, to me, like, of course I want Kendrick to win. It's fucking Kendrick, and it's fucking Good Kid, Mad City, and it's fucking one of the best albums, debut albums or albums like of the genre of all time. But for that year, in that moment,
the album could have won. There's a reason why it won.
Yeah.
Like, not my taste.
That's it.
Right? Not my taste.
Exactly.
But if you actually give the album a listen, which I have many times because it takes me, I had to understand, right?
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah.
You cannot deny quality. It's very good.
I can't remember the statistic, but at the time around all that controversy, thrift store, like Goodwill, they had like this massive spike in like sales.
Yeah.
Salvation Army had this massive spike. You know what I mean? So it was like, this guy had a cultural moment.
Those kids I was talking about, the new generation that go to Goodwill binning and sell it.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't be what it was without that record.
Yeah.
Right? It normalized what poor kids did, right?
Yes.
Like my dad took
my
me to
mama
Goodwill,
did that a lot.
right? Flea markets and Goodwill. That's what I did. To this day, I'm still into that, right? Like I go to Goodwills and I buy these like super oversized vintage suits, and then I take them to Looking Good
and get them tailored.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Looking Good's my shit over here, right?
Yeah.
I know the game.
I know the game.
I got some people who.
And I think credit should be given where credit's done. But back to what I was saying, I think he's someone who doesn't get credit for being in the space. But then you got what the fuck is MGK?
Yeah.
Like, he actually did grow up in a rough way in like a certain culture, but I think he does it wrong, right? Like everything he does to me it feels unauthentic and it bothers me. Can't get into it.
Yeah.
He's a character of a rapper, right? And I think that's fucking disrespectful.
Well, Sam, we appreciate that you give a fuck.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate that fucks again.
Yeah, we appreciate
a lot of
it.
fucks are given.
And that's why and that's why we brought you to the podcast, and that's why I got you performing Friday night, man.
My guy. Thank you, bro.
Man. So that's episode 16, y'all, of the Midnight Oil. Special guest, Sam E. Hughes, man.
Guys.
Wizard Kelly.
Hey, it's good. It's a good conversation, bro.
Hardly ever. We just hear his voice. You know what I'm saying? But
man.
This was a real good conversation. I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to this one because you dropped a lot of jewels, man.
Yeah.
Lot of jewels.
Thank you.
Knowledgeable cat, man. Once again, that's episode 16 of the Midnight Oil. Your boy Mighty Jai. And Don, thank you for the mixes. You know what I'm saying? Gotta shout out to Don. We felt your spirit because my man said taste.
Yeah.
So once again, man, see y'all next Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, 9:30
And remember,
to 12.
it all started with a basketball.
You're listening to Power Plug Radio. Home of your throwback jams.